Good afternoon, everybody. So, I want to start by saying that the buttonberries are ready. See? That's what they look like. Big red puffy things. I don't think I'm picking them this year. I don't think I'm ever going to pick them. The thing is, they're good if you're walking and you want to grab one or two, but they're really fragile. And, it's just not reasonable to store them. So, figure I'll let the birds have them. I'll probably snack on a few here and there, but they're really good. They truly are. But it's just one of those things that it's just, even if I got a whole bucket of them, one, I have no idea what to cook them into, if anything, and two, I highly doubt they'll stay, good for long. But with that out of the way, today's episode is dun dun dun. I have no idea. I really don't. I don't know. It's been a couple of. I'll be right back. I just saw a face from the past. That was interesting. We weren't. I won't say we're friends. He's just some guy that used to come into where I used to work a lot. I haven't seen him in years. Just popped up on the trail. Weird, right? And anyways, I'll try to go in order of things that happened lately. It's been a few days. It's like 90 degrees out. Well, the sign said 90 degrees, but it's probably more like 85 with a nice breeze. So it's not horrible, and I had to do something. It's not quite time to cut the grass yet, so I had to do something to get some exercise, So, anyways. I don't want to get too personal because there are people around here that watch my videos now. Interesting, right? Not upset about it. I'm actually kind of happy about it, I mean, people don't want to get it. People either don't want to or are incapable of getting to know me for me. So, watch my videos would probably be a pretty good way of getting to know me. Like, everything on them is the truth except for, my name and age and where I live and stuff like that. So, I mean, I'm not upset about it. I wanted to keep it a secret because I didn't want any flack. Like I said, I avoid drama like the plague. But with that being said, my nephew watches this. I apologize for missing your birthday party. I can honestly say I forgot. That is the truth. But not only that, I didn't really have much of a way to get there. And I wasn't really contacted beforehand. So, I do apologize. Honestly, with the way things are, it's probably for the best. You'll hopefully understand when you're older. Hopefully. It took me quite a few years to understand why my father and some of the people that acted certain ways, took me quite a few years to figure out why they do what they do. And I honestly can say even now, I'm not completely 100% certain on anything, I can only go off my intuition and life experiences to determine it, because those people are no longer around for me to find out the entirety of the truth. So maybe someday you'll get a general idea of who I really am and what perspires that keeps me from doing things that I want to and things that I should do, or things that, well, you'll get it, hopefully. Other than that, let's get into it, shall we? Garden's doing great. I got a couple of squash on. I think I underestimated the amount of space I needed for them. There. I got 2 plants, and there's a train, of course. I gave 2 plants the entire one half of the garden, and they're still starting to encroach on my tomato plants. So So yeah, I mean, it's not going to be a problem. Like, it's not going to be an issue. Like, they have plenty of space. It's just they could have had more, and it probably squash just wasn't the right thing to put in a raised garden bed with other plants. Next to that, let's see. There's another function going on in my town. I'm not sure what it is. I think it's not the community day that I went to already. I think it's like a fire hall thing that they do. They do it like every year. Have like little games and stuff. I might check it out. I might not. I technically spent the money I intended to spend this month on various things. And like I said, I'm not upset about it. I had an okay time, better time than I would have had sitting in my room, and it wasn't insanely expensive. So, yeah, no. It's one of those things where saving the money might have been beneficial later, depending on what happens. But, you know, it's one of those things. It's better to enjoy what you got while you can. I've been eating a lot of salads lately. I went to the farmer's market, which you guys already know. Picked up a bunch of vegetables and junk, and like, I don't really like cucumbers, but if I put them in a salad, they're okay. I don't really like salad, but it is a nice change. It's a nice change from, you know, burgers and stir fry and pizza. It's a nice change. Not only that, it's a little healthier. And it's not that I hate them. It's more of the prep work and the dishes and the fact that I could eat an entire salad and be hungry again in an hour. That makes salads a little less appealing. It's not so much the taste. I actually kind of enjoy healthier foods a lot of times, like drinks and stuff that are sweetened, or foods that are loaded with calories that ain't needed, sometimes put me in more of a slump than I'm already in. So I'm not crazy upset about my new salad habit. It's not going to last very much longer. I'm almost out of vegetables, but it's good. It's good. Bought some oranges. Something wrong with them. It's like torture to try to peel them. Like, it's super annoying. I tried to peel one last night, and it took me probably 20 minutes. Like, just kept ripping off the little pieces and left that thick rind skin, that white stuff, like real thick on the edges, and it just tried to peel it apart, juiced the whole freaking thing, and I had orange juice all over my hands, and everything was sticky. And because I typically eat a piece of fruit outside before I go to bed, then I gotta open all the doors and stuff, and I have orange juice all over my hands. It was freaking nasty, but it is what it is. I'm gonna go out of order because I have no idea what I'm talking about half the times. And I went up to talk to the guy about doing the landscaping. He told me to forget about it. I don't know what that's all about. I have no freaking idea. He didn't ask for his money back, which was good, because I didn't want to feel like a jerk and tell him, that's not happening. I've been showing up to do the job just because you're unreliable. It's not my fault. You paid me to do a job. I came to do a job. I went above and beyond to be able to do the job, and it's just how it is. I walked past my neighbor today, and he was doing a bit of landscaping on himself. He's a very crumbly old fellow. I actually feel bad that he does that kind of stuff, because he probably really shouldn't be. He can barely stand. But for some reason, he insists on, weed whacking the neighbors and doing the work. And it's good. It's good, because like I said about good old grandma, all she freaking has to do is the dishes. And she can complain about it all she wants, but if she didn't do the dishes, she wouldn't get up and do anything. So, it's good to be up and moving. old guy wielding a chainsaw in his backyard, probably not a good idea, but it's none of my business, you know. I told him my concern and tried to rip the tree out of the ground for him, and it was in there pretty good. Which leads to my next point. I found an invasive species of bug, and I have to call a game commission hotline and let them know about it, because apparently it's like a really bad thing, and it was all through this guy's yard. I told him to call, but once again, he's a rather old fellow, and I'm not sure how concerned he is about it, and I'm not sure if I should be concerned about it. It's really none of my business, but at the same time, I was told about this a couple years ago, and I'd never seen this bug species before. And, you know, as I said, one of my job passions that I wanted to do was, you know, be a game warden and do environmental protection and try to help the world to make everything better for everybody. And, well, that's just, you know, something else that's not going to happen. So, but that doesn't mean, you know, if I turn a blind eye to it, then I'm no better than everybody else, right? So, figured I gotta call, at least drop a line, and, you know, they could do with it what they do with it. So, that'll be that. With this little conversationalizing endeavor I did, I got another shop vac top to rip apart, which I'm probably going to do tonight. It's this one's a good one because it actually has screws and not rivets. The last one was riveted together, so instead of being frustrated and trying to beat the crap out of it with a hammer, I just cut the cord and gave it to the neighbor. I figured, in all reality, the motor inside is going to have a half pound of copper, and it's going to be, you know, an eighth of a pound is going to be in a thing I can access, and then another portion of it is going to be in the other side of the motor. It's called a sater or something, and that's a bit more difficult to access. So losing that, the amount of work it's going to take to get it, wasn't really heartbreaking. So I passed that off to the neighbor. I figure he can rip it apart or do whatever he wants to do with it. That's the thing about my town. I think it's as far as I'm going. That's the thing about my town. It's there's like 4 people that scrap metal in my town. So it puts a strain on my income in that field. But at least I have a place to take the stuff that I can't work on, and then it, you know, keeps it out of the landfill. So that's kind of exciting, I guess. I actually have, a couple nights ago, I broke out the angle grinder and tore apart quite a few of the motors, but those inner windings, the Spinny Bits that have the what do they call those things that spin? You can find them in fidget spinners. I can't remember what they're called. But the parts that have that thing attached to them are a bit of a pain to take apart. So after cutting the wires, and I stabbed myself in the hand with a screwdriver pretty good, decided that, you know, I'll burn them and then try again another time. Or I'll just give them to the neighbor, whichever comes first. Because the fact of the matter is, each one of those weigh probably a pound, maybe a pound and a half, and there's really only about a quarter pound or an eighth of a pound of copper in them. So even liberating the copper from the steel, yeah, I have about 6 or 8 of them now, so it would add up, but it's for that much work and the risk of stabbing myself some more, I don't know if it's really worth it. So I might end up passing those off. And like I said, with the way things are going, I don't know how much longer things are going to be going. So we'll we'll see what happens there. And me taking, I said I'm not going to be taking metal down to that place anymore. That's kind of a, a bull-faced lie, because I have nowhere else to take it. But I definitely limited how much effort I put into it, so that, Okay, so I was on the server today, right? And I got this guy on there. I mean, I guess you kind of call him like a rival, I guess. Like, he has some sort of, I don't know what it is, but there's something about him that he just, has, I don't know if he has a problem with me or what it is, but, I looked at it this way. He knew a lot of people on the server, and one of the bases in the server was coming up to the time where you could unclaim it, and then you could take whatever's there. It's a function of the server that, once somebody doesn't log in for 60 days, you can take their base and all their stuff. Well, I contacted him because he knew a bunch of people and he does the unclaim a lot. So I was like, listen, this guy, he was a rather popular guy. Do you know who he is? And if you know where his main base is, we can get a ton of stuff and we could just split it. He didn't know, but the point is, like the scrapping bit, it's like, yeah, I'm not putting as much effort into it, but if I'm getting ripped off or not, getting some money is better than getting no money. Getting some of the unclaimed stuff is better than getting none of the unclaimed stuff. And that's kind of where my mind space is on that. It's like, it's not right. It's not right, because, if an establishment is paying a set price and they're making a set profit, they should be passing that, price on to their, can't really call us employees. I don't know, what would they call us? Freelance inventory suppliers. They'd pass that on to them instead of, nickel and diming people like me that actually, go out and put a fair amount of effort into it. So, but I could be wrong. Like, a lot of things that I think and say, maybe I am wrong, but I don't feel that I'm wrong. I feel that, it's like yin yang, push and pull, I think I put in the effort that I should get what I deserve in return. Like, I shouldn't have to worry. I shouldn't have to worry about getting ripped off. I shouldn't have to worry about, becoming homeless or going without food, because, I do a lot. I probably don't do as much as I could, but I do a lot. And if I had more of the instant gratification side of things, I would probably do more. But when you don't get paid, or you're getting nickeled and dimed, you're getting looked down on, you don't have anything to really enjoy the money on, you're what little bit of motivation you got slowly dwindles. Oh, well, you're going to give me $1 to cut the grass. Well, that doesn't sound very fair, or I don't have any friends to go spend the money with, or there's very few bars or social gatherings around here that I can, spend the money or spread my wings, so to speak. Then, that motivation to do the work, that motivation to try harder, that motivation to expand just slowly gets chipped away a little bit at a time. And it just is what it is, I guess, Like, I think a lot of my problem is the fact that I try to put in so much effort. I like I said, I don't do probably as much as I could, but I feel like I try harder than I should be for what I get. And that's just how it is. I mean, we got into a little bit of a got into a bit of a discussion. This was a lot more adult-like and a lot more tame than the normal, I hold all the cards, suck it kind of garbage I deal with good old grandma. This one was a little more tame, where we actually, talked for a minute, and I was like, I would have never came back here if it wasn't for Pap, if it wasn't like my only choice, if it wasn't for the not so good spot I was in. And she's like, well, I don't know where she got it from, but she said something about me saying she was greedy. I don't think that's a bad way of putting it. I mean, when you have an income and 10 times as much as the person living in the house that's actually doing the work, I mean, and you buy lottery tickets to go to bingo instead of, dispersing that wealth, I would call that a level of greed. But that's just me. When I was walking out the door, one of the things she said was, you should be grateful I let you go out and do what you want to do. And it just triggered me, because I'm like, what kind of world do we live in that I have to be grateful like it's a gift, like it's a present, like me being allowed to walk down the store to get an energy drink is like a gift from you, like where do I, like, what kind of world do we live in that's a thing, I understand that something like that can be considered a privilege, but for somebody to act like that's a payment, for somebody to act like, you have that because of me, like, how did you grow up? Like, what? We must be living in different worlds, because, somebody being allowed to go out, somebody being allowed to have friends, somebody being allowed to, walk on their own 2 feet, I don't see how that's a payment. That sounds like slave driving, is what it sounds like. Why don't you break out the leash and the whip? Like, I should be thanking everybody and, bowing just because I can take a walk on this trail. I'm sorry. I don't see where that's fair. If I was in a wheelchair and somebody had to push me on this trail, then I could see that being a little bit different. But, this is costing nobody nothing. Me having my freedom shouldn't be something I have to pay for. I don't know. It's hard to, like I said, I don't truly understand everything. So it's difficult for me to accurately discuss my frame of mind and the situation that's bestowed upon me. I can't really just it's just, I mean, for the most part, I'm pretty lazy now. I don't know what happened. Like, she was right on that front. I don't know why. I mean, yeah, not having friends, not getting paid, not having a future can make somebody feel some sort of way. Okay? I think that gives people the right to be upset. But on the other hand, whether it's the smallest thing I do or the biggest thing I do, at least I'm doing something. Like, how many people get their grass cut for free? How many people get their garbage out for free? How many people have their own personal grocery shopper that's basically for free? I mean, I even cook. Not like 3 meals a day like an employee, but I mean, I mean, in retrospect, in the idea of keeping a household, in the idea, I've owned my own, not haven't owned my own house, but I rented a few apartments. and I have a general idea of what it takes. And as far as cooking, cleaning, and maintenance is concerned, like, I think I do my share, especially considering what I get out of it. Like having a place to stay. She's like, having a place to stay is your payment. I'm like, okay, yeah, I can kind of get into that. I can kind of see how that is. But you get your money from the government. You get your money from, you know, my deceased grandfather. You get your, I don't know where all you get your money, but you're not working for it, that's for sure. And I am. So to actually have a house, you have to be capable of taking care of said house. So as far as it goes, I would be more of an owner of that house than she would be if it wasn't for, you know, the system we live in. The society we live in. Like I said, you'd have to be in my situation to truly understand it. I'm gardener, groundskeeper, you know, maid, emotional punching bag. You know, that's, and only thing I can't do is be like a legitimate medical provider, because I don't have that training or background. I know a thing or two, but I'm a far cry from an actual trained professional. So, like, that's like the only thing that I have a shortcoming in when it comes to this scenario. But, yeah, no. Yeah, no. I don't understand it. I really don't. Like I said, I'm not trying to make this too personal, even though I just really kind of did. That's the point of the walk and talks. That's the point of me calling this a type of therapy, in a way. Being able to talk out my problems without having, you know, a worthless counselor or friends that, you know, don't really care, or friends at all for that matter. You know, this is the way I kind of vent. So, it gets personal, it gets personal. It is a bit personal for me. So, yeah, no. On a lighter note, before we end this, because I'm almost at the end of the trail, on a lighter note, I saw a possum in my backyard last night. That was kind of cool. I wanna reiterate the fact that I live in a small town, and I live in the center of this small town. So seeing deer and possums and snakes in the backyard isn't unheard of, but it is a rare sighting. So it is something that I like to mention, because it makes me happy. He was an adorable little guy. Actually, he looked kind of mangy, but he was real tiny. It wasn't even an adult one. I would have tried to get a picture of it, but I didn't realize completely what it was until I got way closer, and then it took off. So, yeah, you know, it was just a little guy. It was probably, it was half the size of a full-grown possum. It wasn't a baby, but it wasn't a you know, mangy, big old, mean, angry looking, you know, rat thing. Possums, like a lot of animals, are a lot cuter when they're smaller. Like, I would love to have a baby raccoon and keep it as a pet, but then when it got older, you know, they start to look more and more angry. Same with like possums, hedgehogs. You know, I always saw them and I'm like, man, that's so adorable. That'd be so cool to have as a pet. But then when they grow up, they're like, you know, they always have that potential of them getting angry as they get older, and, you know, having a possum or a raccoon or even a dog, of that fact, rip my throat out while I sleep because it's tired of its life isn't something I'm too interested in. Maybe that's what's happening to me. I'm getting older and older. I'm starting to get grumpy. Nah, I mean, that's true, but I don't think age has much to do with it. Alright, I'm done. I'm at the end of the trail. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll catch you next time.